Hello, my little love. Did you have a good day today? I hope something made you smile. Now take a slow breath, relax your shoulders, and let your mind get soft and quiet. It's time for a gentle bedtime story. Long, long ago, when the world was quiet and new and the stars were still learning their places in the sky, there lived a gentle young god named Eros. He had soft honey-colored hair and eyes the color of the sky just before sunrise, that tender in-between shade when the dark is slowly lifting. And the light has not yet arrived, and everything is hushed and still and full of quiet promise. On his back were two wings, as white and soft as the wings of a dove. And when he spread them in the warm morning air, they shimmered gently, like the surface of a still pond touched by the very first ray of sun. Eros lived high above the clouds, on a great misty mountain where the gods made their home. The mist there was warm and smelled of honey and pine and something sweet and impossible to name. Like the smell of a beautiful dream you cannot quite hold onto when you wake. The gods were kind and thoughtful beings who loved the world below. And they tended to it with great care, the way you might tend to a garden you have planted and watered and watched grow with love. Eros had a very special kind of work. He carried with him a small pouch woven from golden thread, and inside that pouch were tiny seeds. Each one glowing with a soft and steady warmth, no bigger than the light of a single firefly on a summer night. These were seeds of love. And every morning, before the sun had finished rising, Eros flew out over the world and let those seeds drift gently down wherever they were needed. One by one, soft as feathers, warm as candlelight, wherever a seed landed, something quietly beautiful began to happen. Not all at once, not loudly, but slowly and truly, the way real things always grow. The person would feel something warm stir inside them, deep and good, like a small fire being coaxed to life in a room that had been cold and dark. They would look at the world and find it more beautiful than before. They would look at the people around them and feel a deep, wordless gladness that those people existed. They would feel, in some place beyond thinking, that they were not alone. Eros loved this work with his whole heart. He loved rising early and flying low over the fishing villages where boats rocked on glassy water. He loved drifting above meadows full of wildflowers swaying in the morning breeze. He loved the sound of the wind under his wings, a soft and steady hum, and the way the world looked from up high. All green and gold and silver, stitched together by rivers that caught the light like ribbons. But there was something Eros had never noticed, busy as he always was with everyone else's hearts. He had never stopped to think about his own. Far below the mountain, in a small and lovely kingdom that sat at the edge of the sea, there lived a young woman named Psyche. She had dark hair that moved in the ocean breeze and eyes the color of deep, still water, and she had a quality about her that was very hard to describe, but very easy to feel when you were near her. She paid attention to things. When she looked at something, even something very small, a smooth stone worn round by the sea, a moth resting on a white wall, the way light moved through a jar of water, she looked at it as if it were worth seeing. When someone spoke to her, she listened with her whole self. And the person speaking would feel, without knowing exactly why, that what they were saying truly mattered. People loved Psyche, and she was kind to everyone who loved her. But she carried inside herself a quiet and gentle longing, a soft ache for something she could not name. In the evenings she would stand at her window and watch the sea change colors as the sun went down, from blue to silver to the deep dark color of a dream. And she would feel that longing warm and steady in the center of her chest. She did not know what she was waiting for. She only knew that she was waiting, and so she kept her heart open and patient and full of hope. One morning, when the sun was just beginning to lift above the edge of the sea and pour pale golden light across the water, Eros was flying low over the shore when he saw her. Psyche was walking at the edge of the waves. Her feet were bare in the wet sand and the small waves ran gently over her toes. She was moving slowly, and every few steps she would stop and pick something up from the sand, a small shell, a pebble worn smooth by the water, and she would look at it carefully, turn it in her fingers, and then set it back down very gently. As if even the smallest things deserved to be returned to the world with care. Eros hovered in the warm morning air and watched. And something happened that had never happened to him before, not once in all his long years of flying and watching and giving his seeds of love to others. He felt a seed open inside his own chest. He had not placed it there. It had not come from his golden pouch. It had simply appeared, quietly, on its own, as if it had been waiting all this time in some small hidden place inside him, waiting for exactly this moment. The warmth of it spread through him, steady and real and full of wonder. And he pressed his hand gently to his chest and floated there in the still air above the sea, not moving, just feeling. He had given this feeling to so many people. He had watched it change them and open them and make them reach toward each other across all the quiet distances between hearts. He had never known until this moment what it felt like from the inside. It felt like everything. He flew slowly home, his wings moving in their soft rhythm. The warmth in his chest new and tender and a little frightening in the way that only things that truly matter can be frightening. He went to his mother, whose name was Aphrodite. She was the goddess of love, warm and wise and full of the kind of deep knowing that comes from paying very close attention to the world for a very long time. She was sitting in a high garden full of white roses when Eros found her. And one look at his face told her everything. She said nothing. She only made space beside her on the warm stone and waited. Slowly, carefully, Eros told her everything. The morning and the shore and Psyche setting small things back in their places with such gentleness. The warmth in his chest that had appeared without his choosing it. The strange and tender feeling of wanting something not as his work, not as a gift to give, but simply as himself. Aphrodite listened to all of it. The white roses moved softly in the warm breeze. The world below was green and peaceful. Then she said, gently, "My dear one, you have spent so long carrying love to others that you forgot you were allowed to carry some for yourself." Eros looked at his hands. "I do not know how," he said quietly. "When I give love to others, I always know what to do. But this feels different. It feels like something I could break if I am not careful." "Yes," said Aphrodite. "That is exactly what it feels like when something truly matters to you. That carefulness is not weakness. It is the most important part." She touched his hand softly. "You begin the way you always begin. Gently, honestly, without rushing. You let her see who you really are, and you give her the freedom to choose." "And if she does not choose me?" he asked, very quietly. Aphrodite smiled. and it was a smile full of warmth and wisdom and a kind of tenderness that only someone who truly understands love can hold. Then you will have loved her well. And loving someone well is never wasted, whatever they choose. But Eros. She looked at him steadily. You will never know if you do not begin. And so, with that new and tender warmth held carefully inside him, Eros went back to the world. He did not appear to Psyche all at once. He came to her life the way truly good things often come, slowly and gently, a little more each day. He sent soft warm breezes through her window at night that carried the smell of flowers she had no name for. He guided the warmest, most golden light to fall on the corner of her garden where she loved to sit each morning. Small bright birds began to visit her windowsill. The world around her grew, quietly and slowly, a little more beautiful, a little more kind, as if something gentle and attentive were nearby. Psyche noticed. She was always the kind of person who noticed things. She began to speak softly to the warmth, the way people sometimes speak to the open air when something moves them and there is no one nearby to tell. She would sit in her golden morning corner and say quietly, "Thank you for the good light today," or, "I heard a bird this morning I had never heard before, and it made me feel very glad and alive." Small and gentle words, offered up to the air like little gifts. And Eros, drifting softly in the sky above her, heard every single one. One evening, when the sun was melting slowly into the horizon, and the sky was filled with deep rose and warm amber and the very first stars were beginning to appear, small and shy, Eros came down. He landed at the edge of her garden, in the space between the lavender and the low stone wall, and he stood very still. He had put away his golden pouch. He had not come to give her anything at all. He had come simply as himself, with nothing but honesty. Psyche turned and saw him. She went very still. She looked at his honey-colored hair and his soft pale wings folded quietly at his back and his eyes that held the color of the sky between night and morning. She was not afraid. What she felt was something much closer to recognition. The feeling of seeing something you did not know you had been waiting for, and knowing it the moment you see it. "You have been here before," she said softly. It was not quite a question. "Yes," he said. "I hope that was all right." "It was," she said. "I felt you there." She looked at him gently, openly. "What is your name?" "Eros," he said. She was quiet for a moment. Then she asked, simply and kindly, "What do you want, Eros?" No one had ever asked him that before. He had always been the one asking, always the one attending carefully to what others needed. The question fell into him softly, like a warm stone dropped into still water, and the warmth spread out in all directions. "I would like to know you," he said slowly. "If you were willing, I would like to talk with you and listen to you and be near you. Not because of anything I could give you. Simply because of who you are." Psyche looked at him for a long and quiet moment. The last light of the day lay gently over everything. Somewhere in the lavender a cricket had begun its small and steady song. "I think," she said, and her voice was warm and certain, like a door opening slowly onto a room full of morning light, "I would like that too." And so they began. They sat together in the garden that evening and talked while the stars came fully out above them. And the moon rose round and slow and silver and poured its gentle light across the flowers and the stone wall and the sea beyond. They talked about small things at first. the way you always do with someone new and important. And then bigger things, the quiet kind of things you only share when trust is growing between two people, like roots going deeper into warm earth. Psyche told him about the longing she had always carried, that feeling of something wonderful waiting just beyond what she could see. And Eros told her about the strangeness and the beauty of feeling, for the very first time in his long life, something meant only for himself. They discovered they were not so different. They both loved the way light moves through water. They both felt most at peace near the sea. They both believed, deeply and quietly, that paying careful and loving attention to the world was one of the finest things you could do with the time you were given. Night after night Eros came back to the garden. And night after night Psyche was there, sitting in the warm and peaceful dark, with the stars above and the sea breathing its slow ancient breath in the distance. They talked and listened and sometimes laughed very softly and grew slowly, carefully, warmly closer. But even the most beautiful and truest happiness sometimes passes through a moment of misunderstanding before it becomes whole. This is not because life is cruel. It is because real love asks us to be brave, and being brave sometimes means choosing trust even when it feels tender and uncertain. Psyche had two sisters who loved her and who worried about her. The way people sometimes worry when someone they love seems quietly changed and they cannot understand how. They had heard about the young man with the soft wings who came each evening to her garden, and they grew anxious and asked her many questions. And Psyche, who was always honest, found a small and gentle uncertainty stirring inside her. Not a doubt about Eros himself, but a longing to see everything in full light, to hold the whole truth of it clearly in her hands. One evening she said to him, "Will you let me see you completely? Will you come to me in the full light of day? I want to see you plainly, not because I am afraid, but because I think real love lives in full light. I think the truest gift you can give someone is the whole honest picture of yourself." Eros heard her words and sat quietly with them. And as he sat with them he understood something true about himself. He had been coming to her in the gentle dark of evening, not only to be careful with her but also, a little, to protect himself from the tenderness of being fully seen. Her words were asking him to be braver than that. And because he loved her, and because she deserved his bravest and most honest self, he said yes. He came the next morning in full daylight, when the sun was warm and clear and everything was open and bright and beautiful. He stood in the middle of the garden and let her see him completely, his wings and his wondering eyes and his open, hoping, uncertain face. She looked at him for a long time. The morning light lay gently over everything. Then she smiled. It was the most certain and tender smile. The smile of someone who has been looking for something and has found it and knows it without any shadow of doubt. "There you are," she said simply. And in those three small words he heard the answer to every question he had not even known he was asking. From that morning forward there were no shadows between them. They walked together in the bright and open world, and the world was beautiful and full of things worth noticing and being grateful for. Aphrodite, watching from the mountain above, felt a deep and quiet joy unfold inside her. The particular joy of seeing someone you love not only give love to the world, but receive it truly, for the very first time. She came down to meet Psyche one soft morning when the dew was still on the grass and the birds were just beginning their first gentle songs. She had felt uncertain before, the way parents sometimes feel uncertain when something new changes the shape of a life they knew well. But when she saw the way Psyche looked at Eros, with full and honest attention and a warmth that asked for nothing and gave everything, all her uncertainty dissolved like morning mist when the sun comes through. She took Psyche's hand and held it warmly. "You see him clearly," she said. "I try to," said Psyche. "I think that is the most important thing." "It is," said Aphrodite softly. And she smiled. And so the three of them stood together in the warm and golden morning. The wise goddess and her son and the young woman who had learned that longing is not something to be ashamed of, that it is simply love looking quietly for its home. The days that came after were full of warmth and gentle joy. Eros still flew out over the world each morning with his golden pouch. Still let his tiny seeds of love drift down wherever they were needed. Still did his beautiful and careful work with gladness. But now when he flew home each evening, there was someone in the garden who would look up at the sound of his wings and smile. The way you smile when something you love comes back to you. And Psyche still moved through the world with her careful and loving attention, still noticed the small, beautiful things, still set them back in their places with tenderness. But now there was someone beside her who saw what she saw and understood why it mattered. They were not perfect. No one is. There were evenings when they misunderstood each other and had to sit quietly and try again with more patience. There were days when the right words were slow to come. But they had promised each other honesty and gentleness, and they kept that promise, and those two things together are strong enough to carry almost anything. And above them the sky was always wide and soft and full of slow, kind clouds. The sea rolled in its steady, ancient way along the shore. The stars came out every single night, patient and bright and always there. And the world, that great and beautiful world, felt to Eros now like something even more wonderful than it had ever felt before. Because now he knew it not only from high above, looking down with careful eyes, but from deep inside it, from within the warm and quiet miracle of being truly known by someone, and choosing to know them back. That, little one, is what love truly is. It is paying attention. It is being honest. It is being brave enough to stand in the full light and be seen. It is the tiny warm seed that blooms quietly in your chest when the world goes soft and kind around you. And it is always, always worth it. You did well today, my little love. Now let your eyes grow heavy. And let the night wrap around you like a soft blanket. Sleep well, sweet dreams, and rest deeply.